Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central. Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach to eat.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, we are into the second hour, gang. This is the Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. If you missed the first hour, where were ye? Well, you're here now. That's the most important part, number one. And then number two, we are recording, so all of our number one will be available in podcast. Starting tomorrow, our number two will be available this coming Thursday. And we'll talk about Friday here in just a moment. Coming up on the show still this evening, Coy Christoffel from Pits and Spits and Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly. Of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms, which of course can be found at facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Would you rather have a pizza roll or a pizza bagel? And currently, 56% of you are still saying you would rather have a pizza roll instead of a pizza bagel. As I mentioned in the open, while I was a pizza roll guy in my youth, I am definitely more of a pizza bagel guy. And if I'm being honest right now, I am neither. It don't fit. But if I had to pick, that's what I'm picking. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 438, taking you back to November 22nd of 2016. And I mentioned it a few weeks back, and because he is the very best executive producer of any podcast ever, anywhere, John Solberg went right to work to locate and produce the show that features not only the best story ever heard on the show, in my opinion, it is the singular best story ever told on this show. The entire history of the show. To me, to many, to the dedicated fans who have been here and heard it all, we all agree that this segment that you will hear on Friday, featuring Chad Ward of a then Whiskey Bend Barbecue, is the best story heard and told on the show, period. And I might even go as far as to add this qualifier, and it's not even close. If I only get one story out of the entirety of the life of this podcast, this is the one that every other segment is compared to. Not even the segment where Michael Medium Rare O'Donnell asked me live on the show, and I quote, "Have you ever fucked an elephant?" Not even that comes close to the Chad Ward bear trapper story that you are set to hear this coming Friday morning. I welcome your feedback, and remember, this segment was the genesis for the very first animated segment that ever appeared on the show many, many years ago. And I might actually go ahead and replay that next week. But before I do that, be sure to go and listen to this week's Best Moment Show coming up on Friday, and then you tell me if I'm wrong with my assertion that the Bear Trapper story is the story of all stories told on this show. You can subscribe, and you have to subscribe in order to hear that Best Moment Show to the show podcast feed, which can be found at thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. And don't forget, if you would like to hear a past guest or segment that you feel has been lost in those archives, email our pal John. Let him know you would like to hear. His email is John, Jon. That is Jon, John at thebbqcentralshow.com. And we'll go ahead and get your weekly Famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series update in. 3 results. Because I had a week. The week I left for vacation had a contest. The week after I had a contest. And then subsequently last weekend there was a contest as well. Pardon me. So we will troll through these very quickly. May 30th was in Las Vegas, Nevada. The results as follow. Winning it, Nate Benson of Uncle Jesse's Barbecue. Reserve Grand was Kurt Bronner of Rack City Barbecue. Great name. People's Choice is Michelle Bowling of the Smoky Rose Barbecue. Then, in June 6th, over in El Paso, Texas, winning it was Robert Shaddle of Smoke Eaters Barbecue. Reserving was Howard Kinderman from House D Barbecue. And People's Choice was Jerry Luna of Dos Lunas Barbecue. And finally, just this past weekend in Modesto, California, winning it was Los Mexicution, Carlos Lopez. Reserve was Mac Barbecue, Chris Cave. And the People's Choice champ was Mac Barbecue, Chris Cave. Golden ticket handed down to Sencal Smoke, which is pitmastered by Blair Murray. So we congratulate everybody making it to the World Food Championships and whose name was called there. Upcoming events. The next event takes place on June 20th, which is this coming weekend in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And then the following week, June 27th, in Hermitage, Tennessee. And that is the last Famous Dave's event for the entire year. So for more events this season, or the upcoming events, or if you'd like more information, go ahead and visit the website famousdaves.com/all-star-bbq series. I gave you the update on the poultry results again. And by the way, I see David Yule has replied back to my question here, so let's go ahead and read it. It was on the very back end. The sides were way too narrow as it moved towards the skillet. It just made it a more circular opening. I used my drill, but I probably could have done it by hand as well. David, thank you for your feedback as always. And I don't know if I'm into taking my grandfather's cast iron pan and continuing to ream it. The gentleman over at the poultry sent me a whole kit anyway, so pretty happy with that. And if I ever need to again, I certainly can try that. Well, he did send me the Talon too, which goes right on to the handle anyway, where no reaming necessary. Everybody was waiting, aside from the masses that sent in the emails asking me what was wrong with Meathead's microphone. This email also poured in. When are we getting the pee on the floor in the Bahamas update? Gang, it's right now. The last 1 minute and 50 seconds. I am giving you the lowdown at the Cove over on Atlantis in Paradise Island in the Bahamas. So last year I came back. I told you I was shocked and appalled by the amount of standing piss that was casted off of the urinals, which led to my suggestion that these places go by the splash hog, which is a secondary piece that goes inside the urinal. And as you whiz through it, it catches the backsplash. So if you're somebody that typically is cracking enamel with your stream because your prostate is in its best health ever, then a splash hog, or as we call it, the piss hog, is something that you would take great satisfaction in pissing through, because your porcelain cracker isn't now getting cast off piss, but not only is it coming back on your person, it's going on the floor, and when it happens over hours and hours, now you can see it, and it's mind-boggling that a place like this didn't have a regular bathroom attendant going in with some kind of mop and getting the visible urine off of the floor. Now, good news, bad news. The traditional Cove pool under construction.
Get that big stuff out of here.
So I can't tell you with 100% assurity, and that's the only way I like to tell you, that the pee problem has been rectified, because where the make-up Cove pool was, or the one taking its place, was much closer to the actual Cove resort. So I just went back up to the room, did my business there, and came back down to the pool. I can give you 100% assurity that the floor in my bathroom, pristine. Now, we might be going back to the Bahamas in November, but maybe not. We have to review the email that I just got, which reads like it's deal of the century. We'll have to punch up real numbers and put the accountant to work on that. If not, next spring, summer, we'll be back. New pool will be in place, or the old new pool at the Cove will be in place, and then we can really test the bath. You're going to go for a fourth time in a row? Yeah, I love it. Getting old. I like my routine. I like my yoga. Coy Christoffel is in the green room. So stick around and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. Leading off the second hour tonight is someone who is going to shed light on the newest business transaction within the industry. This company has supported the show for years. They provide the industry with some of the best barbecue pits and grills that money can buy. They have a passionate customer base and continue to push the envelope when it comes to innovation and all their cookers. Here to talk about the latest happenings is the new owner of Pits and Spits, Coy Christoffel. Hey, Coy.
Good evening. How are you?
I am absolutely fabulous. We have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests, before we get into all the happenings over at Pits and Spits. Coy, would you rather have pizza rolls or pizza bagels?
Pizza rolls.
All right. Pizza rolls it is. 56%.
With a good hot sauce.
Always. 56% of the YouTube voting public is also in agreement with you that pizza rolls is the place to go.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. So I had mentioned in the open, a lot of people might think that this is Coy's first time on the show, but if you are a mega fan and you've been with me since the beginning, you would realize that all the way back in, I believe, 2018, a then Coy and Ryan duo showed up for the very first time, and we did a bit of a group interview. But assuming people don't track all the way back 8, 9, 10 years ago, or even farther, 20 years ago when I started, a little background on you, if you've always been in the pit making, selling business, and where you might have came from originally and where you're stationed at now.
Yeah, so I'm a native-born Houstonian, grew up on the Gulf Coast, grew up in a little town closer to Galveston. And from a professional background, I'm an industrial guy, oil analysis, reliability, centered maintenance, that kind of thing. Oil field sales, right? Chasing rigs. But I've always cooked, right? I mean, we're a Texas Cajun family, so we all know how to cook. My grandmother came to live with us when I was in sixth grade, so I got to learn how to cook from an old German woman. Just amazing food all around. So the my first cooker was a 55-gallon oil drum offset smoker that we bought off of some guy at a plant. No telling what was in it before we started cooking on it, but we're all still alive. And then Old Smokies, it still one of the best chicken cookers you can ever get. So that's kind of where my background is. I've always cooked. Probably should have gone to culinary school. Looking back at life choices per se, but and then of course coming on board back in 2016, 2017 with Ryan, and kind of took off from there.
So was it your passion of cooking that leads you to get into Pits and Spits, or did you know Ryan and outside of that, and he said, "Hey, Coy, what do you think about coming with me on this venture?"
Yeah, so we were introduced by a mutual friend. She goes, "Hey, my friend Ryan, he bought Pits and Spits and he's looking for a new inside sales guy." And I'm like, "Man, I'm not an inside cat. I'm an outside cat." But I'll talk to him, and we'll see what happens. And went and talked to him. Was like, "I'm probably not the right guy. This isn't my scene, being stuck at a desk with a phone. But I'll do outside work." And things kind of progressed. And the oil field wills, oil field does is the oil field wills, big downturn. And so opportunities came up, and I decided, hey, I'm going to come work for you. Let's do something. And that's kind of how it happened.
How easy is it to sell pits?
It's education, right? It's listening to what the customer is trying to do and fit them with the right product and manage their expectations. I get a lot of guys that, a lot of people call about the hybrid. The hybrid's a great cooker. It's an amazing machine. We build a ton of them. However, it's not for everybody. And it's not for the guy that wants to try and cook dinner on a Tuesday for a family full of, baseball, kids coming back from baseball practice. The hybrid's a little bit more involved. So you're probably better off with a pellet. It's just listening. That's what it is. Listen more than you speak.
Ryan had appeared on the show a number of times over the last handful of years. I would say for the brand, at least on this show, he was kind of the face here. Although I would say a lot of people would say Coy is the face. He's the guy outside. He's the guy making deals, doing the sales, national sales manager, all that fun stuff. Does Ryan just come to you one day and say, "Hey, better question. How does the sale of Pits and Spits come about, and why does it make sense for you to say, hey, if we're going to put it together, why not me?"
So it's something that we've been trying to do for probably a couple of years here and there. Stars have to align when you're making that kind of a purchase. Certain things have to happen, and that finally came together, and we're all happy with it. He and I, we still text every day, right? I mean, we were texting about an hour ago. So it's that relationship will never go away, for as long as we, work together. You're spending 10 hours a day with a person. You get to know each other pretty well, and you form some really strong brotherly bonds, if you will, especially when you've been at war with them. Because it's a grind. There's nothing easy about being an American manufacturer today. Mm-hmm. It's a frontline kind of thing.
What inspired you to want to take the reins over? Was it like when I was interviewing for a promotion at work, a large part of me was like, well, I mean, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing now. I like the job. I like the money, blah, blah, blah. And then looking at this potential promotion or new position, there was a portion of me that said, I feel like maybe I should do this because if I get it, the people behind me know me. And if somebody else gets it from the outside or the sister company sends somebody from down the hill over here, we don't know what we're going to get. And part of that did compel me to interview for the job, which I ultimately get. I'm wondering if you felt any of that similarity.
I think anybody that kind of takes this path, there's some of that is in the equation, in that calculus, right? There's some, self-defense per se. But at the same time, growing up in Houston and, understanding what the brand is and having the privilege to kind of manage that brand, that's a cool deal, right? And, probably about 4 years ago, a buddy of mine passed away, quick heart attack, owned a barbecue restaurant in Pflugerville, fellow named John Brotherton.
Yeah.
And another friend of ours, Mark Smith, who owns Patriotic Pig Barbecue, on his trailer, he's got an old saying that John used to say, and it's do pimp shit, no half stepping. And we were at barbecue camp, and I saw that, and I was like, you know what? That's exactly right. That's what we're going to do. And so that's what we did.
When you hear new ownership coming in, it's probably a little, and perhaps it's widely different in this instance than it would be for a lot of things. So, you were well entrenched with the brand. You have respect and reverence for the history of the brand. This is an anchor brand, not only in the Houston area, but in the barbecue niche in general. If you know, I mean, everybody knows what Pits and Spits is and the quality and the manufacturing that goes into this stuff. But with any new owner, there could be changes made. There could be new processes. There could be all this stuff. So as you look at it coming in, and while you have been trying to get this deal together the last couple of years, I mean, we're kind of fresh out of the close where Ryan has gone wherever he's gone, and now you have officially taken over the reins here through the sale, let's say. So what's staying the same? What ideas do you have, and where might you see a Pits and Spits in 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, so I think everybody has their own vision, that's separate from what was. The key, though, is I've been doing this for almost a decade. This is the company that he and I built together. It works. There's not going to be, there won't be a noticeable change for the consumer, there will be a change on the wholesale side. I have restructured our wholesale program, and I think it's a much better program. I think it's advantageous for both parties. It's a win-win. But as far as the quality is concerned, the innovation, that's going to continue to be our ticket, because we're, in the grand scheme of things, we are small, but we are mighty. And the advantage of not having any decision by committee is, if we want to do something, we're going to do it. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. We're going to pay a tuition payment, and we're going to move on and figure out what we didn't know and do something else. But the core line, right, the Mavericks, the built-in, the griddle, the adjustable charcoal grills, all 4 of those lines are growing. The hybrids are always going to be there. We just sent out an extended top hybrid, which this thing is massive, on an off-road package. So I'm sure that's going to be a real hit when it gets into the social media. I think he still has to pick it up. It's so big, he has to pick it up at the terminal. They don't want to deliver it.
Wow.
And so we got some really fun stuff, and we have some smaller stuff, right? We're finishing up a 2-burner griddle specifically for the outdoor kitchen market that I think is going to be a success. Good price point. It's going to be probably around $3, but it's all stainless. Our griddles are all stainless, right? And that is a niche that just continues to grow. I cannot make enough of them. quick enough.
Really?
It's pretty, it's pretty impressive what the griddle's doing right now.
When you look at a Blackstone, a Weber griddle, and you compare it to a Pits and Spits, like what are the most beneficial features if I'm buying a Pits and Spits over whatever commonplace is?
Yeah, I mean, if you forget to clean it, it's not going to be a rust bucket when you go out to cook the next time, right? Because that griddle is stainless. It has a lot of power. It has a lot of flexibility. You can do dual zones. You can do all sorts of different styles with it. You can take that griddle out, put in gas grill grates, right? So it's multi-roll. Our number one accessory is we do a half griddle, half cooking rack, so you can have both at the same time. And folks really like that because maybe you want to do a little veg over here, do your steaks over here, and make a night of it. And so the griddle, I think that there is a desire with the American consumer to continue to buy quality products. It's going to be a premium price because it's not cheap building stuff here. But it's also the full stainless aspect. You're never going to destroy it. Maybe in 10 years you have to put some new valves in. So what? Take a couple screws out, throw in new valves, and you have a brand new pit. You're not going to destroy it. And I think that there's a place for that. We're such a commodity-driven economy right now that I still think that people need to make stuff. And that's kind of my thing is we still have to make things. And when Americans really, open up that spigot, we can build some really amazing things.
Looking at the pellet grill line, I remember when there was no pellet grill at Pits and Spits, and then pellet grill started rolling out, and then quickly it was, wow, here's something else we can't build enough of quickly enough. The consumer was demanding it.
Yeah.
How do you find sales in this market, and is there anything new on the pellet cooker line we should be on the lookout for?
So the pellet is still our core. It's still 80% of our business.
Wow.
Oddly enough, the full stainless line over the last 3 months has just taken off. It's a different price point, obviously, but we are pumping out 4 or 5 a week on the full stainless, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a small manufacturer, it's quite a bit. So we're still hovering around that 15 to 20 units shipped per week. That's kind of my main KPI. So the carbon pellets, they're always going to be there. It's always going to be the best seller. The big thing is what we've been working on and what Ryan and I worked on with Roanoke is the Grill Pro controller. It is just top notch. It's this next generation that we've got is I don't know of anything that's better that's on the market. The Grill Pro is amazing. It's got 4 probes. It's got a capacitive touch screen, so it's like your iPhone. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi is integrated into it. It is just a fantastic controller.
From a growth standpoint, are you looking to increase any dealer network kind of a situation, or would you rather stay?
Yeah, so we're always looking for good quality partners. I am a quality over quantity guy. That's always been my thing with the wholesale side. We still have a really strong core of about 10 dealers that have been with us since the beginning that still continue to, bring in product, educate the customer, move on, and everybody make money, pay the bills. But we're always looking to add, there's a vetting process. There have been a couple that we've probably not the best fit, and not to a deterrent to them. But when you're in an extremely rural area, I don't want you to be set up for failure, with that price point. So it's like, do you think you can really do this? Because the retail side is hard.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about owning a specialty grill store. That is tough work.
Do the dealers that do best, are they close-ish to you, or does it not matter?
No. Long Beach Barbecue Land, guy named Jim Gillis, he's crushing it. They do find their niche though, right? Like I had a dealer in Florida. All he sold predominantly were the Maverick 850s. Why? Snowbirds. It was an older community. Jim sells as many adjustable charcoal grills as I can get him, right? Which is kind of our version of the Santa Maria, but it's in reverse, right? The fire goes up and down instead of the meat. Up in Idaho, Dan still sells, the core line, the big three, the 850, 1250, 2000. But it also depends on the availability of fuel. So it's a tough sell to sell an offset smoker in northern Idaho. They just don't have very many hardwoods.
Yeah.
And they got to import the wood, and it's expensive. So there's some regionality to it. But, our guys in Nashville, for some reason, there are certain areas that really love our uprights. The 2000 with the upright for the cold smoking, making bacon, stuff like that. So we'll see that trend, but it's typically the Maverick 1250. That's the bread and butter for everybody.
Anything else you'd like to promote or tell people here as they're finding out that Coy is the new owner of Pits and Spits?
It's pretty fun to say that, isn't it?
Love it.
I pinch myself every day. I'm like, I own Pits and Spits, which is kind of like a childhood dream, right? It's like you're from Houston, it's Pits and Spits.
Yeah.
It's the Rolex of Houston.
Yep.
And so, we're going to continue to be good stewards of the brand. We're going to continue to support the families that we have working for us. They are the most important thing to the company, because without them, you can't do anything. And we're just going to continue to innovate, give good customer service, top-notch customer service. And I like to think that we, for the most part, build stuff that doesn't break. You always have something that's going to happen, but for the most part, I focus on my background. I focus on reliability. I don't do gimmicks. I just don't like them.
This is Coy Christoffel, and he is the new owner of Pits and Spits. The website, of course, pitsandspits.com, all spelled out with a double T on the pits and the spits. Coy, appreciate the insight here this evening. We've obviously wished you success and love to have you back on again soon.
Anytime, just let me know.
All right, there he is, Coy Christoffel right there, Pits and Spits. Great insight, good background on Coy, in case you missed it the first time when we had him and Ryan on 10 years ago. I guess I didn't fully understand that the pellet cooker business for Pits and Spits jumped up to 80% of the take. Wow. Pellet cookers popular much? Daniel Vaughn appears to be in the green room. Before we get to him, I'll talk to you quickly about my favorite cigar brand, McAuliffe. Yes, are you ready for a cigar experience built on history and passion? You know you are. Let me tell you about McAuliffe Cigars, a partnership forged between Texas passion and a Cuban cigar-making dynasty whose heritage spans back to the 1930s when Cuban cigars were actually good cigars. Whether you seek the nuanced elegance of the Migdalia or the complex power of the Leyenda, McAuliffe offers a symphony of flavor for every palate. Don't forget about the ever-expanding color series. The white is the most recently released. There will be another one coming in about 2 or 3 months. An unmatched smoking experience coupled with an unmatched value. In fact, one of my sales guys today, I gave him a white. He called me up after he smoked it. He's like, man, this thing smokes like a $15 to $18 cigar. And I said, exactly right. Each cigar handcrafted in Esteli, Nicaragua by the legendary Gomez Sanchez family. McAuliffe delivers tradition and quality in every draw. Tradition that you can taste. Visit McAuliffeCigars.com to find a retailer near you. McAuliffe is spelled MICALLEF, McAuliffeCigars.com. And we are back with the barbecue editor of barbecue editors, Daniel Vaughn. Right after this, stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. full packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Coy Christoffel for joining us last segment. Pitsandspits.com is the website. And again, it is the double T on the pits and the spits.com. Helping me close the show tonight and making his second appearance in 2026, barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Magazine. You see him here on this show for quarterly visits throughout the year as we talk about things going on in Texas and in the barbecue and grilling world in general, and sometimes topics that have nothing to do with any of that, which is fun. Daniel Vaughn is back on the show. Hey, DV.
Greg, great to hear. Great to hear from you.
Great to hear from you and see you, not in the traditional space, but we can talk about that here in a second. We do have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Would you rather have pizza rolls or pizza bagels?
Pizza rolls.
Pizza
I mean,
rolls.
as long as you know they're cooled down enough, right? Because those things could be molten inside.
Yes, lava inside the dough. 59% of the YouTube voting public agreeing with Daniel Vaughn and the others here this evening. So where are we tonight?
Oh, I am at the Holiday Inn Express in Houston, Texas.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a beautiful locale here. Lots of great barbecue around. I've already been eating my way through Houston. I got some more to eat tomorrow.
Did you go to Truth?
I did not go to Truth.
Oh, where did you go?
Let's see, man. Well, on my way down from Dallas, I stopped in Crockett at Mimsy's Craft Barbecue. I had to get their half chicken. It is smoked and then deep fried.
Oh.
So you get this like super crispy skin. And then they coat it in their jerk sauce. So that was great. That was a great start to the day. Then I went down to Blood Bros Barbecue. I'm with my daughter as well. So
Okay.
had to show her a great menu at Blood Bros. Lots of exciting stuff. I mean, I got a chicken satay sandwich. I got a char siu smoked pork belly banh mi, smoked beef and cheddar. Oh man, chow fun noodles with brisket. I mean, it's just madness there. It's so good.
I got to go there next time I'm in Houston, I think, then.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Yeah, and they have it's such a huge variety they have, and they offer it every day. It's amazing how they can prep all of that stuff in such a really a small pit room and small kitchen as well.
So let's talk about the topic that I need the most help with, because shocker, I'm not very smart and it's hard for me to understand even the simplest of things. And I read a lot, and the biggest topic of barbecue recently has been the cost of beef. It's probably been the biggest topic over the last 2 or 3 years, actually. This year, it seems to be really dominating conversation. You're hearing a lot of the pitmasters talk about it. You're seeing pitmasters on national news magazines talking about how beef is putting them out of business, this, that, and the other thing. But then on the flip side, I'm reading barbecue business is booming, and maybe it's really not that bad, but I'm also seeing places go out of business. So the question is the beef situation really that big of a situation? And can we have mutually exclusive good and bad times existing at the same time?
Well, I mean, I think one of the big issues that people are overlooking is just the fact that the restaurant business as a whole is suffering greatly. Like if you look at the National Restaurant Association, if you look at their numbers, like the amount of visitors coming into restaurants, any restaurant, is down 14 of the last 15 months. Prices of beef, prices of everything are still high, right? They're higher for every type of restaurant out there. I think the reason that barbecue is getting so much attention now is because you have this, you have this very specific product, a brisket, and the price of brisket is certainly raising at a rate that is outpacing the price of beef. So beef prices are rising, brisket prices are rising even faster. And for barbecue joints, especially those in Texas, they're absolutely dependent on this one specific cut of meat. And so they've got to pay for that meat, like no matter what it costs, in order to be able to serve brisket, that highlight of a Texas barbecue menu. And so, I think that's why barbecue itself is being so affected by beef prices, is because of that specific cut. And I mean, I wrote something recently that's like, let's think about Texas as the beef state, and the fact that we can provide so much more from that beef carcass than just brisket. Whether it's whether it's beef ribs, beef cheeks, tri-tip has gotten a lot more popular. Like I stopped at Mimsey's Craft Barbecue, like I said, in Crockett, and they have gone to serving brisket only on Saturdays. And so they've got their whole rest of their menu to choose from, all the pork products, the chicken, the turkey, all these poultry items that are less expensive. And, that's what they're trying to push. You have the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, Southside Market in Elgin, who recently put out a video that's like, you need to try our sliced smoked pork shoulder. Like, we are seasoning it and slicing it, just like a brisket, but instead of $38 a pound, they're charging $19 a pound, like literally half price, to go ahead and buy sliced pork instead of sliced brisket.
Have you had that?
I haven't had it there at Southside, but I've certainly had sliced smoked pork shoulder. And yeah, I mean, it's great. If you're going in for brisket, is it going to scratch that itch? Like, maybe not. But if you are going in for barbecue and you can pay $38 a pound for something, or $19 a pound, I mean, I think that does start to sway some opinions and sway some choices within the restaurant.
Is it completely outrageous for me to ask, what if the top 10 Texas monthly barbecue restaurants, or the top 25, or heaven forbid, all of them, the top 50 Texas monthly barbecue restaurants got together and said, fuck this, no brisket. They've taken it all away. They're not going to do it. I feel like as they have collected together and somehow would be able to weather the storm, where if, one or two of these guys decided to do that, and gals, that they could get picked off and maybe not make it, where the collective might be stronger and force people, you're going to eat something, you're going to come here, we're still going to punch your card and do all that stuff, but it's not going to be because you're coming here for brisket, it's because our ribs are great, or our poultry, or all the multitude of things that you mentioned at all these other great places.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's where the power lies, right? I mean, if you're talking about supply and demand, if we can somehow lessen the demand for that single cut of brisket, then the price should reflect that, right? The price should start going down. And I think these beef companies understand that brisket itself is in such high demand and is almost a necessity to so many of these restaurants, that if it starts to become something that's more of optional, then maybe the price will start to reflect that.
They're not going to do that, though, right? The restaurants?
I don't think the restaurants that you're talking about are going to do that. I don't think the top 10 and I think the big reason is because people are going into that restaurant and they're not looking at the price of brisket to decide whether or not they're going to order it. Like, they're there. They stood in that 2-hour line at Burnt Bean, and they're going to order whatever the heck they came to order. They're not checking the menu prices to see which thing they're going to go for that day. I think it's the neighborhood spots that like Mimsey's that I talked about, that are making those decisions about what can they do that's actually profitable, and also they can charge enough to actually make up for that price for brisket, right? For the higher raw prices that they're purchasing it for, but how many customers are going to come in and buy that brisket? Like if you're in a small town, how many customers are going to come in and pay $38, $40 a pound for brisket?
Well, my follow-up question to that was going to be, why not, if you're a restaurant that's going to cook brisket? So I understand doing limited days, only Saturday, or let's do it Friday, Saturday, whatever, limited days, let's call it. But why not sell it every day and then charge $55 a pound, $60 a pound, so it becomes a better business transaction than... I get the feeling that $38 a pound, the operator still might be taking it in the shorts to some degree.
I wouldn't say taking it in the shorts. I would say it's starting to get to more of a fair price, right? I think that's just the thing, though. Like, if you're serving your community, and especially if you're in a smaller town and you're charging that much, like, now the risk you're running is that people aren't going to purchase it, and you've already smoked it. It's already done. Now you're wasting even more money. So, and I don't think anybody wants to become the headline of, the highest priced brisket in Texas.
Yeah, but why not?
And, if you... Well, because I think a lot of these people still rely on customers who want to come in and be able to find value. And if the outward, if the outward message you're sending is that we're the most expensive place in the state, then you're not really sending out those value vibes.
Do you think it normalizes in the next year or two, or have we set a new table stakes price of brisket being, $35 to $38 a pound forever and ever? Amen.
Yeah, I don't see it coming down a whole lot. I mean, what I think is going to happen is we'll continue to see more, real experimentation, real innovation when it comes to the menus that are going to just naturally make it so that less brisket is being smoked and served. And hopefully that has a positive effect on the price. But I do think we're going to see that. I think especially if you're a barbecue joint that's been serving brisket day in, day out, and you switch over to like tri-tip as an example, because it's one that I see commonly popping up, and you realize that, instead of that 12 or 14 hour cook, I can do this thing in just a few hours and get a 10% loss instead of a 50% loss. Yeah, you're paying more for it up front. But when your loss is that much less from the trimming and cooking process, then the prices start to even out, except the labor that's going to go into it is so much less because of just how much more quickly a cut like that cooks up.
You cheating on me?
Oh, with who?
With the Barbecue World Cup podcast?
I'm
how dare you?
Just about any podcast that asks, man.
Wow. Whore.
Sorry, but I am not a quarterly guest.
Yeah, that's right.
The Barbecue World Cup.
Right on the nose.
Or any of the others that I've done. This is the only one.
Know where the value is. You got a hot take on Barbecue World Cup? You got any take?
I don't think there's any take to be had until the event itself happens, right?
You think it's going to happen?
I do think it's going to happen. Yeah, I do think it's going to happen.
When?
I mean, I don't know what the production value of it's going to be. I mean, I think that's the part that remains out there. But yeah, I do think it's going to happen. And that's the thing. Like, they could all have egg on their face if the $1 million really isn't there. But none of us are really going to know until that time comes. So, yeah. So, no, I don't have a hot take, I guess.
No,
That's
all
what
right,
I'm
no
saying.
hot take. I mean, we're sitting basically middle of June. I guess exactly in the middle of June. Competitions. You've seen big competitions come and go. We saw Smoke Slam spool up out of nowhere like a hurricane in the night, only to crap out not even 2 years later. As we sit here, if an event of what appears to be very sizable, they're getting qualifiers in, week after week and month after month here in 2026, culminating at spring of 2027. I mean, shouldn't we have a judging style, and shouldn't we have a definitive location and date at this point, or no?
Yeah, I guess that certainly would be something that helps. But I think I just think so much of it is they are trying to create something new, trying to create something different, and I think the other thing, if the $1 million prize is there, right, and somebody wins that should be really big news.
Sure.
And I think that's what they're really counting on, is that is really big news, and that generates enough interest in competition barbecue that people from the general public might actually wake up and care. Or maybe that some of these, gambling sites will start to include competition barbecue. And
think Kalshi is going to get in on that?
Exactly, right. So, I think the biggest thing is about trying to drum up public interest in, this really, it's this world that we live in, right? So it's everything to us. We know all these people. We talk about these things. You're talking about these things every week. But the general public just doesn't care. Who won the Jack? They don't even know what the Jack is. The American Royal. But if it's oh wow, so you're telling me Bubba here could actually fire up this grill a little more often and could possibly go win $1 million. I think that might be big enough news for people to really care about it. I just went, I went recently to the national championship of the high school barbecue competition.
Yeah.
And it was certainly eye opening. It happened in the Colony just north of Dallas. So it was certainly convenient for me. But it was interesting to see all these students out there truly cooking. There are coaches out there, but they're not cooking. The students are doing all of that cooking, and I tasted some of the food, and it's really good.
Yeah,
I think the future of barbecue is bright based on the interest I see from all these students. But nobody cares. Their schools barely care.
It's not a varsity sport.
They
can't ledder in that.
They give them almost no support. Most of the schools I talked to, they did get the school that they're representing to actually pay their $400 entry fee, which gets them all the meats that they're going to use for the competition as well. But beyond that, unless you have a coach who has equipment and or is willing to buy equipment or set up fundraisers for your team, you're going to be pretty much on your own. So, just seeing how sort of little interest is in even some of the schools where they're defending national champions, I think to them it's just well, it's not football, it's not baseball. It's is this a sport? I don't know. I guess we'll pay your entry fee, and that's kind of where it ends.
So is a high school having? So the high school has one varsity basketball team. Does the high school have a varsity competition cooking team? And you and I are in high school, and we're hey, Dang, I'm going to go out for the competition cooking team for barbecue, and then I get cut and you don't, and I cry, and they field that team. So now West Memorial State or West Memorial High School competes against West Texas High School.
Well, the thing is, so much of it is just about the interest within that school and the coaches that they can bring in, usually who are parents, right? The coaches they can bring in and how many they can bring in to actually oversee a team of usually 4 to 5 students is on each team. But James Madison High School in San Antonio had 4 teams at the national champions. Matthey Middle School, we're talking 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, had 5 teams.
Wow.
at the national championship, just out of that middle school. So it really is like however much interest you can drum up, and do you have enough coaches who can actually, bring these kids through this competition and provide the guidance, but also, provide some smokers and some of this equipment for these kids to be able to cook, right?
Yeah, well, I'm no dope, but anybody in Waxahachie should be watching out. Pittman's got an unfair advantage. Watch out for those Pittmans.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw
He's not allowed.
Lots of banners out there with sponsors. I mean, I saw lots of Meat Church and Hardcore Carnivore out there.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so there are some folks who are getting some sponsorships, probably just through free product.
Yeah,
I don't think Jess Pryles is writing a check to Matthew Middle School. But
they're ruining it for me. I always say, don't take free shit. Like, take your money if you want sponsorship, but these kids are probably just happy to get anything for free. Any news stories that you're working on that you're ready to flash out to us? You want to scoop us on?
Oh, man. I'm about sick of half chickens, I'll tell you that. I've got a few more stops to make. I've eaten,
chickens are delicious.
I don't know, like 50 or 60 over the last few months to try and get this statewide list finished up of where my favorite half chickens are. So I had like 4 more today.
Who's in the lead?
I got a few more to go. Well, all right, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
The story, there's 2 stories coming out. One is a print story about the best smoked chicken out there. And the other one is an online story about a bunch of other great chickens in different categories. And it's the online story I'm working on now. And they will both publish together. But one is a print story with a little bit longer lead time. So I've already chosen my favorite because I can't imagine one it just is not going to be any better. That's for sure.
What makes it so magical? Is it just the doneness? Is it flavor? I remember a long time ago, Darren Worth once told me that cooking barbecue is a tenderness game first and everything else second. Does that happen to fall in line with your chicken?
Yeah, that's the same thing with chicken for sure. But the thing is, like, a half chicken is so much more, I don't know, intricate than a brisket, right? You just got slices through the brisket.
Yeah.
But the half chicken, I mean, I usually do it a little surgically, right? So I remove the wing, the flat of the wing, and eat that. Like the seasoning, the crispiness of the skin, the doneness, you learn a lot from that. Then I separate the thigh, usually that leg quarter from the breast. You see what sort of juice is in between those two. A nice pool of juice coming out of there is a good sign. Mm-hmm. And then separate the leg out and take a nice big bite out of the thigh so that you're getting through the skin, through the meat. Is it juicy? Is it tender enough? Is that skin well seasoned? Is the meat itself well seasoned? And, I prefer a crispy skin, but it doesn't have to be crispy as long as the skin is done.
Yep.
And then really the final thing I check is on the breast. I just peel the entire chicken breast off the bone and then eat the chicken tender, just the tenderloin part. And if that part is still juicy, then you've got an incredibly juicy chicken, right? So those are really the things that I'm looking for in a truly great half chicken. I've gotten a lot of that back tooth squeak you get on some dry white meat. Get quite a bit of that on the tenders. But man, that one today from Mimsy's, that was one of the really impressive things was just how great that the tender was, how juicy that white meat was all the way through.
Yeah.
Where else? I went to the pit room here in Houston as well. And they've got a really great barbecue sauce and something about dipping, tearing off a piece of white meat chicken with the skin still on it, dipping it into some barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, good stuff.
Hungry for chicken now. Appreciate you breaking down how you go about grading the chicken. It is Daniel Vaughn. You can find him at tmbbq.com and be on the lookout for both the online and the print publication for these chickens. Dan, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in 3 months.
Yes, great to be with you.
There he is. Daniel Vaughn, Texas Monthly. Oh, my God. I mean, I eat chicken a lot, more than the average human being. And so for me to say I am now hungry for chicken. That's usually a stretch because that's usually just what I'm eating anyway, whether I like it or not. But hearing that description and hearing how great some of these half chickens are, and I agree, half chicken cooking is a way different art form because not only, I mean, it's all of the meat, right? I mean, you got to cook the wing right, the breast right, the dark meat right, and it's all right there. Is why I find Texas competitions a little bit more intriguing sometimes than the traditional KCBS or FBA type stuff that are just cooking thighs. Oh, I love it. So great. So appreciate Daniel Vaughn hanging out here. We will go ahead and wrap up the show when we come back. So you stick around, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank our pal Daniel Vaughn for joining us last segment, tmbbq.com. Or follow him on the Twitter at bbqsnob. Or other social media handles as well. And that's going to do it. So let's go ahead and make tracks out of here. All the way back in the first hour, we had a visit with Mike McCloud, World Food Championships. We then followed that up with a monthly visit from our pal West Wright over at cookoutnews.com. Second hour, Coy Christoffel, new owner at Pits and Spits. Excited to see that. Excited that somebody who had been there has taken it over. We wish Ryan Zboril great success and happiness in whatever he's going to be doing going forward. McCoy will be POC at this point on the show. And closing it out with our pal Daniel Vaughn, of course, at Texas Monthly. Big show planned for you next week. Fourth Tuesday of the month. Embedded correspondence already. Can you believe? Can you believe we're already at the end of June? 2026 rapidly coming to a close, if you can believe it. Can you believe it? Hello? Hello? So, until next Tuesday, how do I always leave it? September 11th, 2001. And until we meet again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host. I feel like that didn't come out right. Let's try it again. How do I always leave it? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe, saying, Shabbat! Shabbat!
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.